Here I am, Leo. Just me now. I'm at the old gas station on Route 17, the one with the faded sign of a smiling sun. It seemed like a good idea at the time, a place to maybe find some supplies, a place to hide. But the sun's not smiling anymore, is it? It's just, there. Hanging in a sky that's too quiet, too empty. I saw it happen. It wasn't like the movies, not at first. It was just a man, stumbling out of a convenience store, mumbling. Then another. And another. Then the screaming started. I saw Mrs. Henderson, the one who always gave me cookies, tearing into Mr. Davies. Her eyes, they weren't hers anymore. Just empty, white marbles, and that gnawing sound, it stuck in my head. It's like the world just broke. 1 minute, people are arguing over gas prices, the next, they're ripping each other apart. My mind keeps replaying it, the sheer ugliness of it all. It makes me want to just curl up and disappear. But I can't. I won't. I found a couple of cans of peaches in the back here, and some stale crackers. Not much. The thirst is starting to get bad. I keep thinking about that little diner we passed yesterday. The one with the broken neon sign. Do you think anyone made it there? Or is it just another place filled with them? It's the not knowing that's almost worse than seeing it. Every creak of the building makes me jump. Every shadow feels like a threat. Trust, that word means nothing now. Everyone's just trying to survive, and that usually means stepping on someone else. It's a horrible thought, but it's true, isn't it? What would you do if you were me right now? If you were all alone, with nothing but a broken dream and a gnawing hunger, staring down a nightmare? Would you fight? Would you run? I don't know how long this will last, or if anyone will ever hear this. If you are hearing this, please, just, remember. Remember what it was like before. And if you can, if you find anything at all, please, try to stay safe. It would mean a lot if you could just hit that subscribe button, you know? And maybe leave a like. It's stupid, I know, but it feels like I'm not completely gone yet. Like maybe, just maybe, this is being recorded somewhere. A final message. This is all I have left. They stumbled out of the ruin, dust caked on their clothes and faces, the dim light of the setting sun doing little to lift the gloom. The air was thick with the smell of decay and something metallic, something that clung to the back of their throats. They moved slowly, each step a conscious effort. The silence was the worst part. It wasn't the peaceful silence of nature, but a dead silence, the kind that screams of absence. Every shadow seemed to hold a threat, a memory of what had happened in those crumbling walls. One of them, a woman with a determined glint in her eye despite the exhaustion, stopped and looked back. "Are we sure this is it?" she whispered, her voice raspy. The man beside her, older, his face etched with a weariness that went deeper than age, nodded grimly. "We've checked every passage. Nothing else. Whatever was here, it's gone." He paused, scanning the desolate landscape. Or it changed. They continued their trek, aiming for a distant cluster of trees that offered the only hint of life in the vast, barren expanse. The goal was simple: find shelter, find water, and, if by some miracle, find others who had survived whatever catastrophe had befallen this place. The hope was a flickering ember, easily extinguished by the biting wind that whipped around them, carrying with it the grit of the land. As they drew closer to the trees, a faint glow became visible. It wasn't the warm, inviting glow of a campfire, but a sickly, pulsing luminescence, emanating from the very ground around the trees. They approached with extreme caution, weapons, crude, scavenged items, held ready. The source of the light was a patch of strange, phosphorescent moss that seemed to be spreading, consuming the earth beneath it. The woman knelt, her hand hovering over the glowing growth. It felt strangely warm, almost alive. A low hum vibrated through her fingertips. The man warned her, "Don't touch it." But she was already entranced. The moss pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat, a disturbing synchronicity. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the trees, silhouetted against the unnatural light. It was tall, impossibly thin, its form indistinct in the dimness. It moved with a jerky, unnatural gait. They froze, fear coiling in their stomachs. It was not human, not entirely. Its eyes, if they could be called that, glowed with the same sickly light as the moss. The figure let out a guttural sound, a noise that seemed to scrape against their very bones. It raised a limb, elongated and skeletal, and pointed towards them. The woman, still kneeling, felt a pull, a strange attraction towards the glowing moss, towards the creature. The man grabbed her arm, pulling her back, but her gaze was fixed on the pulsating light. It's beautiful," she murmured, her voice distant. He looked at her, truly looked at her, and saw the alien glow reflected in her eyes. He felt a cold dread wash over him. Whatever had happened here had left its mark, not just on the land, but on the people. He dragged her away from the trees, away from the encroaching light and the silent sentinel. They ran, not looking back, the sound of that unearthly hum fading behind them, replaced by the frantic pounding of their own hearts. They had found something, but it wasn't hope. It was a warning, a testament to the terrifying transformation of a world that had been. The ember of hope, it seemed, had finally been snuffed out, leaving only the cold, hard reality of what remained. Okay, so picture this, it's not some movie scene, this is real life, and my guy, let's call him Mark, is stuck in the middle of a bustling city, like, really in the middle, Times Square, maybe? Except Times Square is now a damn charnel house. He was just on his way to grab some lunch, a normal Tuesday, then bam. People started screaming. Not like, "Oh, I dropped my ice cream," screams, but pure, unadulterated terror. He sees it, a guy, gnawing on another guy's arm like it's a goddamn steak. Blood everywhere. And the guy eating? His eyes are milky, vacant, but there's this primal hunger that's just wrong. Then, he sees the guy who was being eaten, twitching, then his eyes roll back, and he starts to change. Skin sloughing off, bones popping, a whole new level of grotesque. Mark's mind just broke for a second. He's frozen, watching this nightmare unfold. The sounds, oh God, the sounds, are a symphony of agony and guttural growls. He finally snaps out of it when someone bumps into him, hard. He turns, and it's a woman, her face streaked with tears and something else, dark and viscous. She's whispering, "They're everywhere. We have to go." But her eyes, they're starting to go cloudy, just like the others. He shoves her away, a surge of adrenaline overriding his shock. He starts to run, pushing through the terrified mob, the screams echoing off the towering buildings. He ducks into an alley, the stench of decay hitting him like a physical blow. He can hear them, shambling, groaning, a relentless tide of death. He ducks behind some overflowing dumpsters, his breath coming in ragged gasps. He sees a woman trying to help her husband, who's already got that vacant stare, his teeth bared. She's pleading, "Honey, please, fight it," but it's useless. He lunges, and the scene. Mark can't get it out of his head. It's burned into his retinas. The sheer brutality, the utter loss of humanity. He stays there for what feels like hours, the city a constant cacophony of horror. Thirst is starting to gnaw at him, and the gnawing in his stomach is a different kind of dread. He peeks out, seeing the carnage, the bodies, the shambling figures. He needs water, he needs a way out. He remembers his apartment is only a few blocks away. But the streets are a death trap. He sees a small grocery store, a sliver of hope. He makes a run for it, his heart hammering against his ribs. The doors are smashed, but inside, it's eerily quiet. He grabs a few bottles of water and some non-perishables, his hands shaking. He hears a noise, a faint creak from the back. He freezes, then bolts for the back exit, bursting out into another, less crowded street. But the quiet doesn't last. A groan. Then another. They're coming. He scrambled down the alleyway, the sounds of pursuit echoing behind him. He risked a glance back and saw them, shambling figures, their movements jerky and unnatural. They were close, too close. He ducked behind a stack of overflowing bins, the stench making him gag. He held his breath, praying they wouldn't notice him. A shadow fell over the bins, and a guttural moan rumbled nearby. He squeezed his eyes shut, waiting for the inevitable. But then, the sounds began to recede. They had moved on, drawn by another scent, another sound. He stayed hidden for what felt like hours, the fear a cold knot in his stomach. When he finally dared to move, the silence was heavy, oppressive. He emerged from the alley, blinking in the pale daylight. The city was a wasteland. Buildings stood gutted, their windows like empty eye sockets. Debris littered the streets, a testament to the chaos that had erupted. He was alone. Utterly alone. He continued his journey, the water and food a meager comfort. He avoided the main thoroughfares, sticking to backstreets and alleys, always on the lookout for danger. Each creak, each distant sound, sent a jolt of adrenaline through him. He saw more of them, their numbers seemingly endless, but he managed to evade them, his caution a shield. He wondered if anyone else had survived, if there was any hope left in this desolate world. Days blurred into a monotonous cycle of survival. He found shelter in abandoned buildings, scavenged for supplies, and constantly moved. He saw no other living people, only the relentless tide of the infected. He started to question if he was the last one. The thought was a crushing weight. He continued to push forward, driven by an instinct he couldn't explain, a flicker of something that refused to be extinguished. He reached a bridge, the city skyline a jagged silhouette against the bruised sky. Beyond it, he could see something. A faint glow, perhaps. Or was it just a trick of the light, a cruel mirage in this dying world? He had to know. He started to cross. Okay, so picture this, I'm standing on this overpass, right? The city sprawled out below me like a giant, broken toy. Cars were just stopped. Everywhere. Some were even still running, doors open, like everyone just vanished mid-commute. And the silence, man, it was thick. Like a blanket. Except it wasn't a blanket, it was the sound of nothing. And then, you hear it. A low groan. Then another. And it spreads. Like a damn infection in the air. I saw it then, my God, I saw them. People. But not people. Their skin was wrong. Like old, gray parchment stretched over bone. And their eyes, they were milky white, but still darting, searching. And they were moving. Slowly at first, then faster. They'd find someone still caught in their car, or stumbling out of a doorway, and it was brutal. No mercy, no thought. Just hunger. Raw, animalistic hunger. I saw a woman, she was trying to pull her kid out of a car, and one of those things got her. It didn't even hesitate. Just sank its teeth in. The kid was screaming. Oh God, the screaming. It's the kind of sound that burrows into your brain and stays there. I just froze. My legs felt like lead. What do you even do when the world goes insane like that? You can't help everyone. You can't even think straight. My first thought, after the initial shock, was just pure, unadulterated terror. Like a cold wave washing over me. Then, this weird calm settled in. Like a survival switch flipped. I had to move. I had to get off this overpass. It felt like a death trap. I scrambled down the embankment, into what used to be a park. Now it was just more chaos. Overturned benches, scattered belongings, and the groaning, always the groaning. I kept my head down, moving through the bushes, trying to be invisible. Every snap of a twig, every rustle of leaves, made my heart pound like a drum solo. I was alone. Utterly, terrifyingly alone in a world that had decided to eat itself. The smell, too. That metallic, sickly sweet smell of, what, decay? Blood? It was everywhere. I could feel my own stomach churning, but I couldn't throw up. I was too busy trying not to become one of them. The fear was a constant companion, a cold knot in my gut. I knew I couldn't trust anyone I saw, not anymore. Even if they looked normal, how could you know? How could you be sure they weren't already changed? It was this gnawing suspicion that was almost as bad as seeing them. This world had become a lie, and everyone in it was a potential monster. He kept moving, the city a symphony of the damned. The faint glow he'd seen from the overpass, a beacon of hope or a cruel illusion, still beckoned. It was a desperate gambit, crossing the bridge, a vast, open expanse exposed to whatever horrors lurked beyond. He'd seen enough to know that staying put was a death sentence. The guttural sounds echoed from the streets below, a constant reminder of his precarious existence. He hugged the shadows, the concrete of the bridge offering little comfort. The wind whipped around him, carrying the stench of decay and something else, something metallic and sharp. He could see movement in the distance, silhouetted against the bruised twilight sky. Were they, people? Or just more of the shambling dead? He couldn't tell from this distance, but his instincts screamed danger. The need to find a safe haven, any kind of sanctuary, propelled him forward, overriding the primal urge to turn and flee. His stomach rumbled, a stark reminder of his own dwindling resources. He hadn't eaten anything substantial in what felt like days. Every bite of scavenged food was a risk, a gamble against unseen contaminants or poison. He'd learned that the hard way, watching a supposed fellow survivor succumb to a bout of violent illness after sharing a can of beans. Trust was a luxury he could no longer afford. He saw a flicker of movement near the other side of the bridge. A figure. Tall. Unmoving. He paused, his breath catching in his throat. Was it a survivor? Or a sentinel of the nightmare? The uncertainty was a new layer of terror, a constant interrogation of every shadow, every sound. His hands were slick with sweat, his grip tightening on the makeshift weapon he carried. The glow was still there, a persistent, almost mocking presence. It was the only thing guiding him through this suffocating darkness, this descent into the abyss. The figure remained, a silent sentinel in the oppressive gloom. He edged closer, his heart pounding a frantic rhythm against his ribs. It wasn't a hallucination. It had substance. As he drew nearer, the outline sharpened. It was another person, clad in tattered rags, their posture suggesting exhaustion rather than aggression. Relief washed over him, tentative and fragile. He lowered his weapon slightly, the fear giving way to a desperate hope. "Hey," he croaked, his voice raw and unused. "Are you okay?" The figure stirred. Slowly, deliberately, they turned. The faint light from the distant glow illuminated a face etched with the same weariness, the same haunted look he'd seen in his own reflection. But there was something else in those eyes, a flicker of recognition, or perhaps just shared despair. You made it too," the newcomer rasped, their voice barely a whisper. He nodded, unable to articulate the flood of emotions. They were not alone. The realization hit him with the force of a physical blow. This wasn't just his personal descent, others had endured it. They exchanged brief, almost furtive glances, a silent acknowledgement of the shared trauma. "The light," he began, gesturing vaguely towards the source of their meager illumination. It's still there. It's what kept me going." The other person followed his gaze. "I know," they said, a hint of something that might have been resolve in their tone. "I think it's the only thing left that's real." They moved together, an unspoken pact forming between them. The darkness still pressed in, a palpable entity, but now it felt less absolute. Two together were a fraction less vulnerable than one alone. They started to advance towards the glow, their steps hesitant but unified. The path ahead was unknown, the dangers still very much present, but the company, however grim, was a lifeline. They could feel the air shift, the oppressive stillness giving way to a subtle, almost imperceptible hum emanating from the light. It was a beacon, a promise, a question mark all rolled into one. What awaited them there? Safety? More of the same? Or something entirely new? They walked, side by side, their silhouettes merging and separating in the shifting shadows. The glow ahead seemed to pulse, as if beckoning them forward. Each step was a gamble, a defiance against the encroaching dread. The silence between them was a testament to the horrors they had witnessed and survived. They did not speak of what they had lost, for the unspoken understanding was too profound. Their focus was solely on the light, the singular point of clarity in a world gone mad. As they neared, the air grew warmer, and the humming intensified, vibrating within their very bones. The source of the light was finally within reach, its true nature still a mystery, but its pull undeniable. They braced themselves for whatever lay beyond, ready to face it together. Thank you for joining us on this journey, a testament to the enduring human spirit in the face of unimaginable trials. As we close this chapter, remember that preparedness is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Keep a basic emergency kit ready, containing essentials like water, non-perishable food, a first aid kit, and a reliable flashlight. Knowing how to purify water or start a fire without matches can be the difference between survival and succumbing to the elements. The shared silence between them wasn't born of an inability to articulate their grief, but from a deep, unspoken empathy. Each loss was a scar carried individually, yet they found solace in the collective burden. The constant, low hum that had guided them was more than just a sound, it was a beacon, a promise of something beyond the chaos. As the luminescence intensified, bathing them in its warmth, a sense of fragile hope began to blossom, a stark contrast to the desolation they had endured. They had navigated treacherous paths, relying on instinct and an unwavering commitment to each other, proving that even in the darkest hours, connection can illuminate the way forward. The unwavering focus on that singular point of light had been their anchor. It represented not just an escape, but an unknown possibility, a chance to rebuild, to find meaning in the aftermath. They had learned to adapt, to find strength in vulnerability, and to trust the resilience that lay dormant within them. Each step closer to the source of the warmth was a step away from despair, a testament to their refusal to be consumed by the encroaching darkness. Their shared experience had forged a bond stronger than any fear, a silent pact to face whatever awaited them with courage and unity. Ultimately, the most potent tool we possess in any crisis is our own composure. Panic clouds judgment, while a calm mind can assess, adapt, and overcome. Practice mindfulness or breathing exercises regularly, they can be invaluable when faced with overwhelming stress. We hope these stories have resonated with you, offering both reflection and a renewed appreciation for vigilance. If you found this journey insightful, please consider subscribing for more narratives and practical advice. We also encourage you to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your engagement helps us continue to provide valuable content.